Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today is my weekly plan with me video. All the supplies I'll be using will be linked in the description box below, along with the playlist on how I made this planner, which is primarily a David Austin Roses catalog with some other ephemera and printables. So let's get started and we'll get into all the things. Okay, so I am currently like on the last week of Drawloween. It has been flying by. Oh my goodness. There is not much October left. Which October is a longer month, so I guess that's saying something. Okay, I had an art supply swap video. And then I did, this is my week 42 video back on the 20th. So I always write down what I've done, never what I'm doing, just in case something changes or there's an emergency or life happens, which sometimes it just does. So I did laboratory as a prompt, and I'm doing Mab's Drawloween. I will throw that up. This is Ghostwriter. So I'm doing a lot of things I have never watercolored before. It is a lot outside my comfort zone. It is a lot of subject matter I just don't typically delve into. So this has been the challenge to all challenges because I am really just branching out. Watercolor hands are hard. I'm going to just go ahead and say that for me. It's really hard. This is Finfolk. I can spell. And this one was Toad. So it's good. It's good to push myself. It's good to try different subject matter. It's good. It builds my confidence. It builds my skill levels. It's just sometimes it's a lot day after day after day. So this has been really fun. Let me go in my other planner. And this is just a gallon leather with a Nolte cover. And I divide it in half. Okay, so let's look at what we did the previous 2 weeks. We were doing spines and quills for everything. So let's go to this side and I'm going to zoom in so we can see this better. Okay, I have Copic multi-liner in warm gray, and that's the date and the dividing line. So it's half a page a week, and I'm not drawing across grids or anything, so that's really nice. I did 7 Drawloween drawing prompts, and gosh, November is coming. And it's coming at a very rapid pace. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. Okay, I did this past week, the week 42 video. And to everybody that likes the number 42, don't panic. That is a reference from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy. I love that book series. That was a lot of fun to read. And then I did, yes, art supply swap video. Okay. And I thought for this next 2-week spread, we would do amphibians. So feel free to grab some stuff and draw along with me. I'm gonna do like a red-eyed tree frog. I found some wild frog facts. So I might read some of those to you just because they're so out of the box that I just can't with that. Okay, and I need some pens. So I'm gonna do Pilot Pen for this drawing challenge. I am just in an inky sort of challenge. And I think I have enough that I can make this work. But I need to remember that when I pen in ink, I tend to press really hard. So I'm gonna need a page protector. Okay, I think those are all the colors I need. Do I have yellow? I don't have a yellow in Pilot, but that's okay. We'll make do. We'll make these work. I have a pastel, which is kind of newer to them, and then I have a neon, which is newer to them. So I have a couple unique ones. And then I think these were from, gosh, I think these were from like some sort of celebratory set where they had the polka dots, but these are all the G2 and 07. So I really like drawing with them. I like writing with them. I noticed that the neon is a little bit more, and the pastel is a little bit more persnickety with the ink coming out, but that's okay. And then I will get to talking about the art swap I went to yesterday. So let's just start drawing a frog. And he's red-eyed, so we're gonna do some of that. Weird frog facts, because I don't do a lot of frogs. I think I draw or create 1 to 2 frogs a year. That is just not nearly enough. So I definitely need to work on that, get on that. I think this is going to be my 3rd frog of the year. I think I'm lumping in toads with that, and I don't know that that's a fair thing to do to toads or frogs. Okay. Yeah, pen and ink's fun. I don't have any dark blue left of Pilot pen, and I am really, really low on that bright pink, and I love that bright pink. It's not light fast or anything, but for sketchbook work, it's the right level of bright and obnoxious, and I dig it. Okay, let's add some black. Okay. Alrighty. Yep, coming together already with one eyeball. I love starting with the eyes. I know everybody has like a thing that they start with, and for me, I find that starting with the eye kind of grounds the illustration. This is gonna be a little bit darker because I don't have the right grass green. I just don't have it. So that's okay. He's not perfectly color matched. We're gonna just pretend. We're gonna pretend like it works. If you were using colored pencils or polychromos, the greenish yellowish would be a really good color for this guy. But we're gonna go with what I have. So, fun frog facts. There's a Central African hairy frog. Hairy's in quotes. I don't know why it's in quotes. I'll find a picture and I'll throw it up. Frog species with retractable claws. Okay, here for that. That's just weird enough to be wild and wonderful. There's a species of frog that swallows its tadpoles. Oh my god. And stores them in its vocal cords. So, that's a unique storage location. The smallest frog in the world is the size of a fly. Okay, didn't know that. Yeah, there's a lot about amphibians I don't know. It was recently discovered in Papua New Guinea. So they have a lot of cool stuff over there. So if you want to fall down the hole of research of weird and wonderful animals of Papua New Guinea and birds, ooh, totally recommend. It says it's just under 7 millimeters in length. That's less than half the width of a US dime. So that is super, super tiny. Here for it. What else we got? There's a Siberian frog that can survive for months underwater with almost non-existent oxygen. Wow, that's something else. You know, I took art and entomology in college decades ago. And we learned about a cricket that froze to death at night and then would thaw out in the morning. There's just a bunch of animal species that are just absolutely out there wild. And I'm here for it. Okay. Okay, so it says found in the northern subarctic and southern Arctic, the Siberian wood frog overwinters 6 to 8 months in oxygen-depleted frozen lakes each year. Good grief. That is wild. Okay. Yeah, I am not familiar with a lot of this stuff. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have to link the cutest thing ever in the world. So there was like a documentary on this frog, and it's a desert rain frog from, there's a narrow coastline in Namibia and in South Africa, and it buries itself in the sand in the heat of the day and emerges to feed on insects. But to defend itself, it makes noise. But the noise it makes sounds like the sweetest, cutest little squeak ever in the world. And the narrator of the documentary has the driest deadpan humor I've ever heard in my life. I live for it. Made me laugh so hard. So I will throw up this squeaky little frog that's tiny and adorable, and I love him. Yeah, and I will link the documentary so you can hear the sounds it makes with the documentary narrator. Ferocious. Oh my god, I can't. It's so hilarious. Okay. If you need a little humor and a little giggle on your Mondays, I highly recommend you check out the documentary clip. I will find it. It's everything in the world that you didn't know you needed for a Monday. Yeah, I can't. It's absolutely hilarious. Okay. It does sound a little bit like a dog toy if the dog toy was mellow and not obnoxious. So there are some squeaky dog toys that are loud and like ear piercing. If you're new here, I have a Mastiff. She's 6. Her name's Sunflower. Toys for Mastiffs don't really work. They just don't, because they have like a bite force and it's just too high. And so even if they say like, oh, this is great for dogs with strong jaws, no, it's not for Mastiffs. Most toys aren't for Mastiffs. She can do the black Kong, but if you give her like a red one, she'll just bite it and pop it. Same with like tennis balls. She just rips the fabric off and then pops them in half, like cracking them with her teeth. There's no toy that's like good for Mastiffs. We do rope and we'll make like little knot toys, but those don't last very long. When she was teething, it was like ice cubes. Yeah, most toys aren't for Mastiffs, but it's cute that they try, and we like that they try, but it's no. And that's kind of like the reality of the situation if you have a huge dog that's like, you know, over 100 pounds and living their best lives. Just most stuff isn't made for them. And that's okay. We went through a lot of stuff though. She had more stuff as a puppy, you know, when she was 40 pounds. Gosh, her paws were so big, it was adorable. She was like one of those puppies that just had really huge paws that would like, they would grow and she would stumble all day as she tried to like figure out how to work them. It was very cute. Okay, so I went to the art supply swap yesterday, and I will show you, at the end of my illustration, I'll show you everything that I got. Well, most things. I don't know how interested you are in absolutely everything, but there was more there than just an art supply swap. So I live by a local university. I live in the forest. It's a really unique existence that I have. And because of some of that, some stuff is different. So there are like political things that my community is very big and vocal on, which doesn't have anything to do with my art channel, but I picked up some things that were politically inclined just because I am interested in those things in the world. When I arrived, there were like bins on a table. I will throw up the photos I took. I try to get photos that didn't have like people in them to be really respectful of folks that are not signing up to be on my YouTube channel. There were bins, so you can put your art supplies in a bin and then you can grab something else. And I looked in the bins and we stayed for about an hour and a half. And there wasn't anything I needed. And I was trying to be very particular and use discernment and really just lean into, because I did a no-buy art supply for all of 2022. And I'm finishing up my 3rd year of a low-buy art supply. So I like to think that I've learned things about like what I want versus what I need versus what could actually help me, what could help me grow as an artist versus like realistically, fantasy self versus realistic self, because my fantasy self She's wild. She's out in the public. She's painting. She's doing all this stuff out in nature. But realistically, I'm behind my desk. I am out of the inclement weather and I am listening to music or an audiobook. Like, it's just realistically, there are things like in my mind that sound awesome and amazing, but I would never use them. Like, they're products that, oh, I'd love to own that, but where would I use it? Seriously, where would realistically I use that? So I looked at everything and I just thought, you know what? What I actually need isn't here, and that's okay. It was a great experience. It was, I met some really cool people. I chatted with some folks. I got some community information. Like, it was just, everything about it was absolutely lovely and wonderful and put together, and the food was amazing. I can't even with the food. But there was just nothing I needed. So I went around. There were different stations from like little craft areas from different businesses and different things with different messages. And I went around and I talked with everybody. We were like some of the first people to get there, and there was a raffle that I entered. Didn't win, but that's okay. It's always fun just to enter things. I have no idea what they were even giving away. So if it was something I couldn't use, I wouldn't have kept it anyway. Oh, hold on. Let me turn that off real quick. Okay, sorry about that. Shout out to our first responders. We appreciate you responding. We adore you. I think I'm going to negative space the chest of this frog just to make it interesting. So we went to a station where you could do like lino cut prints, and they had really cool scraps of fabric. And I will show you the ones we made in person when I'm done here. And I have a picture of my husband. He came with me. Our kids are teenagers. They didn't want to go, so we weren't forcing them, but they missed out. So he made one and I made one, and they're super cute and I'm in love with them. Whoever cut the designs into that like rubber, holy cow, are you an artisan? Like, that's amazing. I tried lino cuts once and I realized that it's one of those things that if you want to make stamps or you want to get into that, it's its own thing. In the respect that the time you need to dedicate to that is like akin to learning how to draw. Like, it needs to be kind of a full-time thing that you dedicate your time to. And I was like, I would just rather draw and paint than figure out how to carve in rubber, because I just don't have time to learn an all new skill. I'm not in love with it that much that I have that kind of time to devote to it. I crave drawing, I crave painting. I don't crave carving like that. So I don't even remember when I bought those tools, maybe 2017, but I didn't keep them. I donated them. Anyway, so we did that, and then we went on. There was a representative there from our local university, and she was talking about like drug and substance abuse within our community and some of those things. I don't know what kind of breakdown you want, but I'll be real honest with it. She was talking about that. I think I'll give him an orange mouth. And so they had Narcan there, which is for fentanyl overdose, and they had free boxes. So we took one for our car, and then my husband took one for his office. He only goes into the office one day a week, and then the other day of the week, he's in the field, and the other 5 days he works from home. So he's a scientist. In case you're like, what does he do? He does the science to my art. So now his office has a Narcan in his cubicle, in case anybody in public or they see somebody like out the window on the street overdosing, they can rush out and they can help administer that. And I am here for our community. We're not a vacuum. We're not an island. We live with other people. Like, drug and substance abuse is a thing that happens in a lot of communities, and we just want to be here for everyone. You know what I mean? So she had some really cool patches and some cool stickers. She had a huge thing on sex ed because, again, the university. And so she had a lot of stuff on consent. So I got some stickers that I thought were cool because I love that. I love that message. I love that they're making that a priority for people and bringing that into the conversation because it's relevant and it's necessary. I know there's so many. I can hear the ambulance again. Hold on. Okay, and then we went to another table that had a bunch of flyers and a bunch of zines. So I really like, I think you can see in the description box where I link resources for people. I think you can see where my priorities are. And I'm a big believer in helping the marginalized communities. Not just my community, but of the world, of our country, of the state, of the world. And they had a bunch of zines. So I got one on ICE, and I got one, October is, and I did not know this, but it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And they had some brochures and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't know that I know the signs if someone in the community is experiencing domestic violence and needs help. Like, I don't know if that's a thing I know about, like, fluently. So I got a pamphlet that one of the wonderful folks had made. They had the best fingernails I've ever seen in my life. I didn't take pictures of their nails, but wow, were they amazing. Like claw goals. Yeah. And we chatted about some of the projects they're working on and getting information out to folks in the community and through different like health resources. There was another table that was for like health and doctors and things in our community and farmers markets and getting nutrition out there and some of those things. And we chatted with them and picked up some pamphlets. I won't be showing you those because it's just like information that's just local to us. But it's nice that they were there. It's nice that they had all the information. A lot of stuff was in Spanish as well. So everything was kind of bilingual, trying to be as inclusive as possible. And I am here for that. The only language I know is American Sign Language. I am not fluent in Spanish. I could do a little bit conversational in an emergency in a pinch, but like it's real bad. So I need to work on that a little bit. Like there's some goals I need to have in 2026, and one of them should be like how to reach out in an emergency with other folks in our community with language barriers and stuff. Like I need to work on that a little bit. So that was a lot of fun talking to them and getting information and realizing like all the different things that go on in October. Like October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's LGBTQ plus History Month. So there's a bunch of things that go on in October that I just did not know about, and it's good for me to educate myself. And there were stickers and there was buttons, and my husband made a button. It was really cute. They had like patches and badges and different things. And then we went to a table that had like cloth, blank cloth bags, and they had free sewing kits. So we took a blank cloth bag and we took a sewing kit, and they had all these like little fabric scraps and stuff that have been upcycled from different clothing and things. And you could decorate, and they had a sewing machine, and they had somebody there to help you, and you can sew and make your own, decorate your own cloth bag. And I was like, we could always use a cloth bag. Like, let's just be for real. We were trying to eliminate as many plastics as possible, and that's like an ongoing mission in our house, in our lives. So we took a bag and we took some scraps, and my husband and I are gonna do a sewing project together. The sewing machine we have is his. It's a Kenmore, and everybody in the house knows how to sew. All three of our kids. I would say our youngest daughter is probably the most like proficient. She made like a shirt. She was bored for an hour, and she like sewed an entire pullover shirt, and it's gorgeous. She's really shy, so I'm not going to show it out of respect for her. She's not 18, so she can't really consent to that anyway. But she made a beautiful shirt. Like I can't. They make all kinds of really cool stuff. So we're going to do a sewing project together. I've never like done a sewing project with someone before. I'm not good. Like I'm bad with the bobbin, I'm bad with the needle, I'm bad with all the things. But that was kind of like the biggest thing we grabbed was the blank cloth bag. And then all the different patches and things we're just going to sew onto the bag. And if they do this again next year, we'll take the same bag with us and we'll sew on the other side for the next year. I hope they do it again. It was really fun. It was raining the entire time we were there. It was raining pretty heavy. But where I live, folks are rugged. So that's like not a thing. Nobody cares. We went for a hike in the forest with some of the folks putting on the event, and it was like a color scavenger hunt, and they gave you a board with all these like colored papers, and you just found like items to match. And I'm like, I love hiking, and hiking in the rain, which isn't for everybody, I know that. But the way the light shines through the trees and you're kind of protected because of all the branches, it's just not raining as heavy when you hike in the forest. It's really beautiful. And there were mushrooms and there were all the banana slugs and there was all kinds of like things popping up, and we were here for it. So we went on a rainy day like color scavenger hunt for fun with other folks. And they had Polaroids, like different Polaroid cameras. So you could do little Polaroids and then combine them. They had a zine making station. So when you got back, you could take some of the Polaroids that you took and make your own zines. And so they were handing out zines. They had some on like substance abuse and some other things that were made available to people. And I grabbed a couple of those. Just because, again, I want to know what's going on in my community, and I think all that's fascinating. And I want to be a helpful resource in an emergency. You know, I don't want to be just somebody standing there going, I don't know what to do. I don't have anything to help. I don't want that to be me. So, yeah, they had a couple zine making stations. The fabric tote, they had like fabric pens and fabric markers and stuff. So for people who weren't interested in grabbing a sewing kit for free or doing any sewing, you could draw on your tote bag. Like they just had a bunch of tables set up for folks to create and make some stuff. And I thought that's just a wonderful, like if you've never made a one-page zine before and you're not sure where to cut and how to fold to make that, they had somebody there teaching that. And then they had a lot of food. They went to a really fantastic pizza place, and they got lots and lots of pizza. They had lots and lots of desserts. We took back a couple things for our kids, but like, yeah. So we need nostrils. We need a little bit of nostril here. Okay. And I just want a little bit of shading, kind of. A little shade with red. Red's a darker color than orange, so we can shade with that a little bit better. Anyway, so this is my red-eyed tree frog. Yeah, let's give him a little shading discernment, a little bit, just a little bit for some of the edges. But again, I don't have a yellow Pilot pen, so I'm just gonna kind of orange it and fake it till we make it here. Okay. So that's my frog. And then instead of doing like little bird silhouettes around him, I'm gonna do little squiggle flies because I'm assuming frogs like insects. So, okay. So there's my frog. There's no shade or shadow, so he's just kind of floating there in space. Let me show you what I got from the event. And I might have to zoom out a little bit so you can see better. Let me do that. Okay, so here is the lino cut I made. And it says, "Rise up and make art." Isn't that cute? And then here's the one my husband made. And it says, "Cultivate culture." So that's kind of the center that put this on. They went to like a thrift store and grabbed t-shirts and then cut things, and then they had fabric paint. We rolled these on. I don't know that they're finally dry. It's been 24 hours, but even though it's not raining today, the humidity is still 75%. So the humidity's still high. Here's one of the zines. Everybody uses a substance use disorder prevention zine. Oh boy, okay, that's not close enough. I'll get closer for some of this. Here is this sewing kit that was free. It has tons of stuff in it. Let's see. Some buttons. I don't know what I grabbed. Here's Dia de los Muertes. This says grow a consent culture. So these are all just regular like pin on buttons. Need a workout, exercise your right to vote sticker. Cultural arts sticker. Here's a bat. It says embody consent. Space alien, space for consent. That's a conversation we have with our teens all the time. I love art sticker. This is stand with Texas women sticker. 100%. We're doing that. Here's like resource for domestic violence because I didn't know about enough. I don't know enough about that. And then here was another zine. So there's language. It's adult. A lot of zines, if you look at the culture and the origin of them, they are rooted in information that couldn't get out to the masses. So a lot of them are political in intention. So this says resist detention ICE, and then the flip side is in Spanish. So half of this is in English and what to do, and then the other half is in Spanish, and I'm here for the inclusion. And then we got some scraps and patches and badges and things. Here's a sea turtle because that's my husband's absolute favorite in the world. And then garden. So, and then here's the blank tote bag. So people were hand stitching. We could have hand stitched these things on, but oh my goodness, we would have been there for hours. So we're gonna sewing machine ours. I know I picked pink thread. I was trying to go like bright with it. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out how to lay these things out. And now that these are finally starting to dry, we wanna put these on here too. So we wanna have all the important things. And Check It is part of like substance abuse. Like it's a club at the university and we wanna support them too. We like that they're reaching out to teenagers and folks, you know, that may be partying and stuff and having trouble with drugs. So this is what I got from there. Obviously, if your community or things go to do an art swap, there may not be so politically inclined. It may not have things from a local university. It may not have things about substance abuse. There was also a guy spinning music and it was very like dance house music. And so we were all like bobbing around, like looking at all the craft stations and stuff. It was a lot of fun. My husband and I are into all this. So all this is welcome. The more inclusion, the better. Yeah, so this worked well for us, but I could see if you are someone that doesn't like politics anywhere near your hobbies or your arts, that this might have been difficult for you. Not difficult for us. Again, I like political zines, so I'm here for it. And I apologize for the adult language and some of this stuff, but yeah, sometimes it's like that. So there's a bunch of zines I need to read about drug and substance abuse. So everybody uses caffeine, Netflix, online shopping, medication. Like it just has a bunch, no judgment. There's a bunch of really great messages and stuff. So I will go again if they have another one. I don't know what I have left to bring of supplies I'm not using, but I will go in support of others and listen to the conversations and be open to the things that the younger generations are talking about. I'm 45, so I definitely want to keep my ears and eyes open and make sure these are things that I am in tune with and things that I can pass on to my kids and they can understand like how open to discussion their parents are about all these topics. Like we're very open. You know, no need to come out in our house. We are the safe space. You don't have to come out. We're that safe of a space for our kids. Like we just love you. That's it. There's no conditions for that. And this was a ton of fun. They had like 4 different lino cuts to do and we chose these 2. Yeah. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this. If it offended you, don't believe everything you think. Reach out to your community, see who's marginalized, see who needs help. And find ways to borrow and swap and all the art in your community. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week and I will talk to you later. Bye.